Print, and he had pictures of past students, probably kids who did excellent things, disciplined things, holding ribbons at the science fair, clutching a trophy, some kid giving the camera a thumbs up like a corn ball. Probably all good students, not kids like me. Marshall was a,
Uh-huh.
a Heim coach. Uh-huh, I see. Okay. Then he handed the phone back to me. The coach had already hung it. Principal Marshall walked up behind his desk and took a seat. What did he say? I asked, bracing for the slam. He said he'll be here in a minute. I would have, it would have been the worst mistake ever to smile, but I sure wanted to.
I sat there in the office while the principal went on about his business, flipping through folders, clicking at something on his computer, scribbling in a notepad. When I finally asked him about the pictures of the different students on the wall. Who are those kids? I asked, biting a fingernail. Must have snagged it in the scuffle. Principal Marshall looked up from all his busy work. You don't get to ask me any questions until tomorrow, he snapped. His tone was sharp, and I could tell he wasn't playing. I don't want to hear your voice. Your job right now is to sit there and wait for your uncle. Got it? I just nodded and sank into myself. Thankfully, it wasn't too long before Coach came marching up the hallway. The look he gave me was just as bad as the look Mr. Marshall had given me, which were the looks my mom gave me whenever I was in these situations. The I'm so disappointed in you look, which is way worse than the I'm mad look. I'm here to get Castle, Coach said to the secretary, Mrs. Dixon, sorry. Okay, just sign him out, she said. Coach scribbled something on a piece of paper, checked his watch, jotted the time down, met the principal, shook his head, apologized to him for what I did, and we were out of there. On the way down the hall, Coach didn't say a thing, not a word. But as soon as he got in his cab, he lit me up. What were you thinking telling those people I'm your uncle? Do you know that's probably against the law? I'm not sure if it is or isn't, but it probably is. And if it is, you got me out here committing crimes. I've known you for one day, and I just kidnapped you. I kept quiet because Coach was really mad, because I was super grateful that he came and got me, and I didn't want to say anything to mess that up. Shoot, he might have turned around and took me back to the school if I had said the wrong thing. Then finally, after a few minutes, he calmed down a little and asked, what happened anyway? I got in a fight. I stared out the window as we passed Mr. Charles' store. Care to elaborate? Coach cried. Okay, so there's this dude, Brandon Simmons. He's always getting on me about my mom and where I live and how I look and all that. And today I just couldn't take it no more, faced Coach. He glanced at me and then back to the road. So I jumped on him, beat him down. And what, you think that makes you tough? Coach scoffed. I thought about it for a second. I don't know. Does it make it right? He asked. What is it about adults that makes them all just say the same things? Like they all studied the same book about grown upness, memorizing phrases like, does that make it right? And be the bigger person. I just shrugged, spoke with my shoulders. I kind of wanted to say yes, yes, me punching Brandon in the face makes it right because he had been begging for it forever. Made it right for everybody he joked on, and those kids would have given me their honor roll certificates for what I did. That wasn't the answer Coach was looking for. But man, that's how I felt. Coach drove through town and eventually we ended up at Martin Luther King Park. He said that since I had cost him a half day's worth of fares, the front seat wasn't even all junky yet. I would have to make it up to him by putting in extra work at the track, which was fine with me. Coach grabbed his whistle and clipboard from the glove compartment. Okay, here's how you're spending your suspension. We got us 3 hours before practice. We're going to use this time to get you caught up on the way all this goes. How all what goes? Being on my team, boy. I could tell he was still irritated, but not as much as he had been. We headed over to the track, the bright white lines marking out the red lanes, the green field in the middle. Okay, so first things first. Where's your practice clothes? Coach asked. These them, I said. You have on jeans and high tops, he stated the obvious. I looked at myself. There was a stain on my sneakers, a new one, maybe ketchup or chocolate milk. So, I said, what's wrong with that? Coach sat down on the bench, stretched his legs out. You know what? Don't worry about it. We'll figure that out later. Let's just start with some stretching. Apparently, there were a whole slew of different kinds of stretches, and Coach showed me how to do them all. Each one was for a different reason. This one was for this part of the leg, that one for the part of the leg, another one for your back. Then jumping jacks, toe touches, push ups. It all seemed silly to me, but not as silly as the next part, the 2 lap warm up jog.
Me and Coach bounced around the tread, him telling me to keep my arms tucked, which is actually hard to do. He said, "Form is everything when it comes to running, and that is, and that it is it, and that it has more to do with form than how fast your legs move." That didn't sound right. To me, it seemed like if my arms were tucked by my leg, but my arms were tucked, but my legs weren't moving fast, then I wasn't gonna be beating nobody. Just common sense. But then again, I didn't think a 2 lap jog as slow as we were jogging would get me going. But by the time we finished, I was pouring sweat. Good, good, he said as we got back to the bench. He bounced around on his toes like a boxer before finally settling down. Feels good, don't it? I wiped my face with my shirt and took a seat. I was tired of and energized at the same time, which was weird. I didn't do it to make me feel tough, I blurted out of nowhere. Coach stopped bouncing. He sat down next to me and grabbed the towel from his bed. "What you talking about?" he asked, wiping sweat from his bald head, more like buffing it off. "What you asked me in the car, if beating up Brandon makes me tough," I reminded him. I said I didn't know, but I do. We locked eyes. "The answer is no, it don't make me tough." Coach moved the towel from his head to his neck. "So what does it make you think?" "I don't know, but not tough." I thought for a second. Because for something to make you feel tough, you gotta be a little bit scared at first. Then you gotta beat it. But I wasn't scared of Brendan at all. He's just a big guy with a big mouth. That ain't really scary. That ain't really all that scary of me. I had been thinking about this when we were running around the track, warming up. In between Coach's tips about form and all that stuff, my brain was kicking the question around.
Let me guess, Coach said, now flinging a towel over his shoulder. You're one of these kids who ain't scared of nothing or nobody. Nah, I chuckled just for a second because I knew the kinds of kids Coach was talking about. The kids who say they ain't scared but really be scared of everything. Kids like Brandon. He talked all that trash and teased people because he was shook, a cupcake. But that wasn't me. I ain't saying that. I've definitely been scared of somebody before. Real scared, I added, thinking about how loud a gun sounds when it's fired in a small room. That's how come I know how to run so fast. But now, the only person I'm scared of, other than my mother, I mean, like, I do things I know ain't cool. But even though I know they ain't cool, like beating on Brandon, all of a sudden I'm doing it anyway, you know? So I guess the only person I'm really scared of, maybe, is me. A grunt seeped from Coach. He rubbed his right knee. I hear you, kid, he said, wincing, stretching out his right leg, bending it, then straightening it. Then he did the same to the left. Trouble is, you can't run away from yourself. Coach snatched a towel from his shoulder, folded it into a perfect square, and set it in the space between us. Unfortunately, he said, ain't nobody that fast. All right.
"We did it, guys!
So recap.
God.
Do you know what happened? Why? Do you remember what happened at the beginning of the book? Like what he was saying about
his dad was not like his dad a gun
yeah.
stuff.
His dad chased him and his mom out of the house with a gun, shooting at them. And I think he said that was like 3 years ago or something.
Yeah. And then
Now his dad's in prison.
tough times. Tough times.
Yeah.
We did it!
We did it.
2 videos!
Okay, press stop.
Oh,
Just press it.
oh yeah. Touchscreen, guys.
You didn't press it.
What?